going on, everybody? This is Chris Classic dropping a car vlog. It's dark, but it's not the nighttime. It's actually morning. Good morning to y'all. Nobody tells you today. Remember that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. I'm praying for you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the Taking Home podcast, where I talk about professional wrestling topics and I put in my matches as classic. I offer a professional wrestler of 13 years. We'll be celebrating 14 years in 2 months. Very excited about that. The good Lord sees me do. If not, I'm grateful for this thing called wrestling. Make sure you also subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling, me and my wife's professional wrestling company. We have all of our matches from 2025 available, and then we're getting ready for our first show, February 21st, Dyer, Indiana, Harold's private venue called Big Business. So get your tickets on Eventbrite now. They're $5 off. There'll be $5 more at the door. Bars. Oba Femi, the ruler. Your daddy is home. The Nigerian Nightmare. He had his last match in NXT last night. He went against Leon Slater, who defended his NXT title, and he won. And he won in dominating fashion. The match was okay. It was nice. I do think this is what I like in matches that involve big men, heavyweights, and stuff like that. It doesn't always have to be an even bout or an even contest bout. You know, they're both freshly new guys. They're new still, but they don't need to do it back and forth. Every aesthetic, it don't need to do that. And I think with independent wrestling, that's what a lot of people have done. And that also transcends to the major leagues of AEW and WWE, is that because on the independent scene, you'll see a guy that's 112 pounds going against a 300-pound guy, and they're wrestling for 20 minutes. And how you do it is very, very important, but sometimes it's not believable to me, you know. What's going on, Jamie? Good morning, God bless. So still, I thought the match was good for what it was. It told a story and everything. But the biggest thing was, you know, Ava was speaking to the NXT roster, telling them to speak up and stuff like that. And then Robert Stone was like, hey, did you see what happened? And then they panned to Oba leaving the title in the ring. So we know that he's either going to Raw or SmackDown. Now, we see vignettes on Raw and SmackDown, so we don't know where exactly he should go. I do think he should go to SmackDown, honestly. With Raw, it's a lot of stuff that's going on, and I feel like it's more of a take a number. With SmackDown, it's well, we'll see where it goes from here most of the time. Oba has had a great career in NXT. I think they've done great with him. They've showed believability. They had him hanging with the big dog of Cody Rhodes and stuff like that. A lot of people love him. They grunt with him. They love to dance. I know some people call the dance goofy. I actually love to dance. Like, I think that, you know, if people can stomach what the New Day was, is 3 black men twerking and stuff like that, and then they can sit here and not even call that goofy and enjoy it and stuff and look at them put on great matches. I think that we can see Oba strut a little bit. Good morning, Carson. We can see him strut a little bit to the ring, you know, to each their own. But still, I think they've done great. He's North American champion, 2-time NXT champion. Just won the belt from Ricky Starks a couple months ago, and now he relinquished it. I think this was the best thing to go. Best way to go. We should sell that Oba cannot be beaten, or it's hard to defeat him. He's only had a few L's from him as the ruler. I don't know when he was on NXT Level Up and stuff. I don't know his record and stuff, but still, what you have done is a great thing. And it reminds me of Asuka. Remember, Asuka was undefeated in NXT. She had to vacate the title. She vacated the title to move up to the WWE. And they were doing good with her until she went against Charlotte at WrestleMania. Was it 30? It was somewhere in New Orleans. I don't want to say 30. Was it 30? I don't know. But anyway, Asuka was undefeated and stuff like that. And then they promoted her as an unstoppable monster and everything like that. And then she went against Charlotte. Now, that match was actually pretty good. Charlotte won, gave Asuka her first L. Appreciate you. Thank you. Good day. Saw you again. Come on, Blake. So Asuka lost her first match against Charlotte in WWE at WrestleMania. Now, at first, I didn't like it, but the match was solid, and obviously, the best person to have your first L from is one of the greatest women wrestlers of all time, in my opinion. The only problem I had with the Asuka loss was that they gave her an interview afterwards. Was like, how do you feel losing your loser streak? And Asuka was just smiling like it feels good. And I was like, why did y'all do that? Why couldn't she just say, I try to keep an undefeated streak and stuff like that, but if I had to lose, I'm not that mad that I lost to one of the greatest wrestlers. No, y'all had us smiling. Like, oh, it was just happy. I was just happy I took this L. And that's what I don't want with Oba. And hopefully they don't do that with Oba, right? Because when Asuka was between NXT and WWE, that's when Paul was running NXT. And sometimes Vince didn't like some of the guys that Paul was pushing in NXT. And sometimes Vince would show it, right? Now, for the most part, it's Shawn Michaels, that's doing stuff with the NXT people, obviously the coach and everything like that. And then now it's Paul's version of WWE. Now, Paul has not been that great, especially with wrestlers of color. And that's why some people do get mad at Paul and stuff with certain things when he says he don't see color when your actions say different. Now, I'm not sitting here advocating to push somebody because they're black. But if they are undeniable, they're talented, you can make money off of them, something that y'all been trying to do, and they're black, and you don't do that, then that does make people scratch their heads. Yes, there is a revolving door. Yes, sometimes you have storylines in place, and that's the problem too. Your storylines over year-long storylines, year-long title runs with the main title and stuff like that. Can we stomach another Cody Rhodes year-long championship run? We don't need to have it. Give it back to Drew. Feuds that don't really mean much, right? These kind of things happen, and that's my fear for SmackDown. I remember even Carmelo Hayes, the U.S. champion, right? He faced Andrade. He faced Andrade, and they had like a best-of-7 series. Now, these guys had great matches, but 7 matches? Like, come on, man, what we doing here? What we doing, Big Dog? Big Dog, what we doing? You're saying that Oba has to be undefeated. Nice, because of the guys that he has went through as far as NXT. I'm not saying that he needs to have a championship his first match, but he does need to be elevated. I do think that this is a guy that needs to be elevated. The thing is, the art of I almost said accountability. The art of believability is very, very important. So this guy who has beaten up one person with another person, picked up 2 people on his shoulders, threw people, just annihilated people, just beat some WWE talent. The guys from the War Raiders, the one that does the cartwheel and stuff like that. You know, stuff that he had with Cody, returning and beating Ricky Saints the way he did and stuff like that. Like, you guys have presented this guy as being unstoppable, and he's very, very marketable. He's called himself the ruler for a reason. I agree, SmackDown is the best place for him. Possibly some great MFTs. The MFTs, I don't know what they're doing with the MFTs. I know they're feuding with the Wyatt Six, but I'm just not that excited about it. But even then, he could face Solo. Solo is a great wrestler. I know a lot of people, when Jacob came in and went through everybody, a lot of people was like, oh well, Jacob is better than Solo, and Solo is Solo got to do something better. We want Jacob. We don't need Solo. I think Solo has done a great job with what he's been doing, with what the opportunity that he's handed. The MFT storyline projection is the problem, in my opinion. That's just what it is. Like, you keep bringing these guys in and they don't have nothing to show for it. I mean, if anything, if you were gonna have somebody that could take the tag titles from the Wyatt Six, it could be the MFTs. I mean, we rarely see the tag champions like that as it is anyway. So still, I think that even Oba going against Solo would be good. He can face members of MFT. They can jump him. They can do a numbers game and defeat him. They can do, as long as it makes sense and some believable stuff. Oba's by himself. He's the ruler. Solo comes out. Hey, this is the MFT, my family tree and stuff like that. You're not going to rule nothing. You could do those kind of things. You can have him feud with them. Drew should win against Cody. If he doesn't, Drew and Oba could be good. Like, certain things could be good, right? And projections and stuff like that. But that's the thing. WWE has a thing where they don't want to push certain people because either they don't like them or want fans to like certain people. Zack Ryder, who just came back as his real name, Matt Cardona, was one of the most over guys at one point. And WWE could have capitalized way more on what they did. They gave him the United States Championship. They could have did a whole bunch of stuff with him. He was marketable. People was wearing his merch. They was wearing his shirts. They was subscribing to his channel. WWE wound up taking his YouTube channel and put him in a horrible storyline with Kane and John Cena and Eve Torres with the embrace the hate stuff. Mind you, Cena did not embrace the hate until 2025. Do y'all remember that? That was when Kane came back. He had the red leather mask. It was ugly. It wasn't like the original. He had a welding mask on and embraced the hate, telling Cena to embrace the hate and all that. And Cena never embraced the hate at all. He did an ugly face in front of the camera when Zach got sent to the hospital and stuff. It just was bad. Gotta look at NXT New Year's. What's up next? Gotta look at the NXT. Yeah, he did good. The Street Fighter thing, fighting in the streets, everything was good. I mean, at one point he was the muscle for Roman Reigns in the bloodline, and he was believable. I remember when Roman shoulder touched him on accident, and the crowd was like, "Oh snap!" because he dropped his Ulafala and he picked it up. That was cool. But then when eventually he started showing more of a personality. Solo did, and I'm not mad at that. I thought that was pretty. The New Jack Swing Solo, I like him. I thought he was pretty good. I think he's taking a lot of L's as far as championship wise because they just don't want to put the belt on him at the time. And I do think that a lot of people was like they put all their eggs in one basket because they wanted Jacob to overthrow Solo, because Jacob did have a great debut. He beat up Cody, Randy, and Kevin Owens dang near by himself. That was an impressive feat. And Jacob is very, very talented and stuff like that. But what I don't want to do is slight Solo for what he has and the potential that he has as a wrestler, right? But still, as far as Oba is concerned, the concern is how Paul is going to elevate or not elevate him and stuff like that. Can you give him a long-standing feud? Sure. Can you give him microphone time? Sure. Does he need to have a championship within the next few months? No, he doesn't. And I do like when people can't get an opportunity and do something with it, but that doesn't always equate to championship runs. People are happy that Carmelo Hayes has won the United States title. I'm like, let's just give it time. The United States title is the hot potato title. Just like the women's tag title. It's a hot potato title. Both of those are hot potato titles. People have them for a few months or a few weeks, and then it goes to the next person. Now, I'm not sitting here saying you have to have a long-standing feud, but the stuff just has to make sense eventually. So even with that, right? So we'll see. Carmelo, he's a great guy, and my biggest thing about Carmelo is I do wish he could cut a few more better promos or have a manager or something like that. I mean, Paul doesn't always have to be like the only manager. And the other lady, Kiana James, who's the manager of Julia, you can have a few more. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And by the way, sidebar, I do love that she is the manager of Julia because of the language barrier. Hint, hint, Stephanie. I need to do that for Stephanie for Kurt too, whenever she comes back. Because she's not speaking English that well. She's very talented. But I didn't understand what she was saying. But the commentators had to say what she was saying. I assumed what she was saying, and what I assumed was right. But still, it's Oba's time. The ruler is about to be in WWE. Like I said, I do think he should go to SmackDown. I think with Raw, with Punk and the Vision and with everything that's going on, I could see that. I could see him eventually feuding with Sammy. I could see him losing against Sammy because Sammy is trying to get to that world title picture and somehow beating Oba and even Trick. But that'll go into a thing. I wouldn't go into a tangent about them just pushing black wrestlers just because they lost to a white wrestler, a Muslim wrestler. But still, it's, we'll see where it goes. Paul doesn't do the post-match interviews anymore, and he doesn't do it for a reason. One, he's not good at it, and two, he knows that people are going to dig real deep into how he thinks things and how he does things. But you look at Oba, and you look at his entrance, you look at when he does the hand thing and then the lights go off, you look at the silhouette of him coming out and stuff, you look at the dance and stuff, and it's great. A lot of people don't like when people have like African characters and stuff like that, especially if it's in their lineage, it's in the bloodline and stuff like that, because sometimes they don't do stuff right. Apollo Crews, right? He's I forgot exactly what he is, but he has an English accent, and then they made him do an African accent, and which is funny because Trick Williams was like one of the soldiers that was part of his little group for a little bit before he became Trick Williams. But still, they gave him an accent. He had a little spear, and he had Commander Aziz and all of that stuff, and it was okay. But still, I know that Oba uses an accent for the most part, but still, look at how it is. Look at the projection and stuff like that. It's not stereotypical. Good morning. It's not a stereotypical thing. It's not a racist thing or whatever like that. He's obviously tapping into some of his roots. So still, Oba can be the future if they be creative and do him. They could. And like I said, him taking constant L's would be a problem. Them not knowing what to do would be a problem. They should do how they did Jade. Jade was showing up on Raw and SmackDown and NXT. She was showing up. The general managers was talking to her and stuff like that because they wanted her because she was a hot free agent. They should do the same thing for Obafemi. Tease that a little bit. Have him stand off with some people. I mean, he has the Undertaker seal of approval about it being his yard and stuff and protect your yard. So to me, you would think that a guy who has his respect like that in public, you would do something with him. I mean, even Gunther, Undertaker wishes he could have faced Gunther because of how Gunther is with the old school aesthetic. But still, we'll see where it goes. But I'm at work. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. We'll talk about this all day. If we want to go back and do a live when I get off work, let me know. I hope you guys and gals have a wonderful day. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.